Graduates of the class of 2021, faculty and staff, and members of the USM community everywhere, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the University of Southern Maine's online commencement celebration. My name is Janine Diddle-Uzzi, and it is my privilege to serve as the Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic and Student Affairs at this outstanding public university. Thank you for joining us this morning on this, the appointed day of USM's 141st commencement exercises to celebrate our graduates and their many achievements. As we begin our commencement ceremony, we pause to acknowledge the land and water that the University of Southern Maine campuses occupy, as well as the ancestral and contemporary peoples indigenous to these places in the Dawnland. USM campus lands were the ancestral fishing, hunting, and agricultural grounds inhabited by the Abenaki and Wabanaki people for thousands of years. This morning we recognize that we are on indigenous land. In addition to the Abenaki, the broader place we now call Maine is home to the sovereign people of the Wabanaki Confederacy, the Penobscot, the Passamaquoddy, Maliseet, and Micmac peoples. We exist on their unceded homelands. We also acknowledge the uncomfortable truths of settler colonialism, among them that the peoples indigenous to this place were often forcibly removed from it. Harm from the physical and cultural genocide of Native people here and throughout the land we now call Maine continues and is felt by members of the Wabanaki Confederacy who live here today, including our Wabanaki students, staff, and faculty. To participate in the healing process, please visit the organization Wabanaki Reach at mainewabanakireach.org. We all have work to do. And now please join me in standing for our national anthem sung by Miles Obrey, who is graduating today with a bachelor's in music performance. Interpretation of the national anthem is being provided this morning by ASL interpreter Anna Dunbar, who is graduating today with a bachelor's degree in linguistics, American Sign Language, and Deaf Studies.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Miles, for that heartfelt and stirring rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner. And thank you, Anna. We are very proud of our School of Music, which, as you can see, attracts outstanding talent. The same can be said for our signature program in ASL interpretation. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the USM School of Music performing Lift Every Voice and Sing. Known widely as the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing was written as a poem by NAACP leader James Weldon Johnson and set to music by his brother, John Rosamond Johnson, in 1899. ASL interpretation is provided by Sam Anderson, who is a senior pursuing a double major in linguistics and Spanish.
Thank you for that inspired performance of Lift Every Voice and Sing, and thank you, Sam. Now it is my pleasure to welcome James Irwin, the Chair of the Board of Trustees of the University of Maine System, with his congratulations to the class of 2021 from the Board of Trustees directly.
Greetings to you all from the University of Maine System Board of Trustees. I'm Jim Irwin, Chair of the Board. Once again, we find our university's most important events compromised by a viral pandemic. For those of you who may have endured the disease or have family members who did, please accept our sympathies and wishes for a return to good health. While this pandemic is not quite ready to let go, to succumb to the laws of epidemiology, neither are we succumbing to the pandemic, not by a long shot. Instead, we gather by virtual means to do what it is so important for us to do, to take the time to celebrate the achievements of our 4,000 degree recipients across all our campuses. At this time last year, even as we celebrated with amazement the ability of students, faculty, and staff to turn on a dime from in-person to 100% remote learning in a matter of days, and to press ahead to finish the year's work, we looked back and said, what just hit us? At that point, it would have been easy to get discouraged, to step back, to hold out for the experience you thought you had signed up for. And yet, a remarkable 87% of our students continued from fall to spring, compared to 75% a year earlier when there was no pandemic. The board is so very impressed by and proud of the individual decisions and commitments this number reflects. Once again, students, families, faculty, and staff have shown their main bona fides, pulling together with tremendous resilience, adaptability, patience, cooperation, and persistence. So this year, even as we remark with astonishment on the emergence in real time of a very different higher ed experience, many of the attributes of which will stay with us long after COVID departs from center stage, we look back and think, what a long, strange trip it's been. Well, commencement, of course, is also a time to look forward, so let me take a moment to do that. First, remember as you carry this experience with you that pandemics like this one are very uncommon. They're like 100-year floods. We don't really engineer our institutions to withstand them, and we have to adapt on the fly. I hope you will draw from your triumph over this level of adversity an extra measure of confidence in the next phases of your lives. Second, many of you have spent the last 4 or so years acquiring the skills and knowledge needed for a specific vocation. But some of you have not. You've entered college not knowing you needed to explore, to experiment. Maybe you know now, maybe you're not there yet. But whatever your path, the one acquisition that should be common to you all should be the ability to think critically and for yourself. We're bombarded regularly from every direction with carefully packaged messages purporting to distill the complexities of our society and even human nature itself into conveniently simple memes. These memes get repeated enough to become accepted as fact. Often they are anything but. For example, when you hear "follow the science," stop and question. Science is a process of inquiry, not a magical incantation that confers legitimacy on a theory or a contention. Ask, what is the science underlying the command to follow it? And when you hear "do the math," well, that's generally a good idea, but try to make sure it's the right math. Your world is going to be awash in data and data analyses, and they will not all be trustworthy. Try to understand what's behind them. Try to satisfy yourself that it's the right math. Critical thinking, whether it's following the science, doing the math, or some other form of due diligence, will rarely provide certitude. Often, however, it can lead you to an understanding of probabilities that help you make good decisions. If your university experience has given you the ability and the inclination to approach important decisions with that kind of thinking, then we did our job. I want to conclude by looking ahead for our system as well. The pandemic caused us to make sudden and extensive modifications to how we operate at great cost so that you and your fellow students, faculty, and staff would be able to continue your education safely and largely uninterrupted. At the same time, we've tried very hard to keep our eyes on and over the horizon. We have many challenges, and we are applying our best critical thinking skills to identify the best strategies to overcome those challenges, so that improving student success through better accessibility, affordability, relevance, and efficiency can be our everyday focus. But in addition to these challenges, we have many opportunities as well. A new engineering facility at the University of Maine nearing completion. Construction about to begin on a Student Success Center and the first residence halls for the University of Southern Maine's Portland campus. A new accreditation model that fosters collaboration across the system to make all of our programs widely accessible and to improve academic efficiency. And an unprecedented gift from the Harold Alfond Foundation that includes creation of a system-wide College of Engineering, Computing, and Information Science, funding for 3 system-wide initiatives to improve student success, and the completion of the University of Maine Graduate and Professional Center and related plans for investment in our law school. I'm proud to say that despite the disruption, we have persevered together. So once again, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, congratulations for staying the course in a time of unprecedented challenge and change, and best wishes for what lies ahead.
Thank you, Chair Irwin. Before I introduce the graduating senior who will be delivering the 2021 Student Commencement Address, I want to take a moment to express my deep appreciation to the USM faculty and to our staff. Thank you to all of you for working with our students to help them pursue their scholarly goals and prepare them for lives of learning, purpose, and engagement beyond the halls of USM, especially this academic year when ensuring the health and safety of everyone in our community required many of us to teach, learn, and work remotely. In large part because of you, I am confident that our graduates today will succeed in their lives and in their communities just as you help them succeed in the classroom. And to the graduates watching today, we celebrate your many accomplishments and the knowledge that you have gained at the University of Southern Maine. Among the achievements that deserve special recognition are the selflessness, the teamwork that you demonstrated in following the Healthy Husky Promise. This was vital to keeping members of the pack safe and our positive counts very low this year. You obeyed the health and safety protocols we asked you to, and you kept your distance from each other and still found ways to connect and to build a strong sense of community. You showed care and respect for the well-being of others. And as a result, you now have a distinctive understanding of community and your responsibility to that community around you. You will forever be known in the history of USM as the class that persevered through an unprecedented challenge and the class that put the safety of your community first. Because of this, we know there is nothing beyond your capabilities. Nothing. And nothing you cannot accomplish. Today, you leave the university not just with your degrees, but also with an understanding that true happiness is achieved when we act in service to others and the common good, rather than our singular pursuit of self-gratification. Through the challenges you have overcome, you are equipped and ready to share with the world what Huskies know how to do best, and that is how to pull together, especially when the burdens are heavy and the footing is rugged. On behalf of our faculty and staff, we thank you for entrusting your education to us. We congratulate you on your success, and we look upon you and all you have accomplished with the deepest of Husky pride. Before moving on to our student speaker, there is just one more group that I would like to single out. Few of our graduates who have achieved their academic success without the support of the people around them and the people watching today. In a very real sense, much of the honor of commencement belongs to you, the parents, the grandparents, the spouses, the children, the friends, the partners, the relatives of these graduates. And to our graduates watching everywhere, please take a moment to thank those people around you for their love, their dedication, their support in helping you achieve your degrees and your dreams. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the 2021 Student Commencement Speaker. Each year, a committee of students, faculty, and staff select a student commencement speaker who has the honor today of presenting their reflections on graduation. This year, it is my great privilege to introduce Grace Moeto. A native of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Grace was 14 when she left home. Along with her mother and two brothers, she journeyed to Rwanda before arriving in Maine in January 2014. She attended Deering High School in Portland and enrolled at the University of Southern Maine in the fall of 2017. Today, she will receive a bachelor's degree in human biology with minors in biochemistry and psychology. Following graduation, Grace plans to explore her interest in medicine, perhaps continuing her education at USM in pursuit of a master's degree in nursing. She also plans to pursue work as a motivational speaker. And with that, I present Grace Moeto, the 2021 Commencement Speaker Address.
To the university community, family members, guests, faculty and staff, good morning. To the graduating class of 2021, congratulations, we made it. My name is Grace Moeto, and I'm honored to have been chosen to deliver this speech. Most of you probably do not know me. I wasn't really involved in many activities throughout my 4 years here. This speech is my last chance to contribute to the USM community. Better late than never, as they say. I was born in the Democratic Republic of Congo. I'm a proud Congolese with Rwandan roots. Moving to Portland, Maine 7 years ago had to be the scariest journey my family and I ever had to embark on. Leaving behind everything that defined me truly shaped me into the person that I am today. It was not easy, but for this moment right here, it was definitely worth it. I would have never imagined that the 14-year-old girl who did not speak English will one day deliver the commencement speech at her college graduation. Ever since a younger, I've always been shy when I found myself in unfamiliar territory. In school, I was the one to sit back and listen instead of talk. And I was the last person to want to stand up and present to the class. This anxiety only increased when I found myself immersed in a whole new country, a whole new culture, and a whole new language. That 14-year-old girl had to push through her worries, insecurities, and the feeling that she will never be as good as someone who grew up here. She had to learn to never let her fears and other people's opinion define her. She had to push herself outside her comfort zone and into an environment where she could find her voice. What better way to do that than to go to college? As an asylum seeker, unable to apply for federal financial assistance to fund my education, I was grateful to receive aid from USM to cover my first year of college. I was only guaranteed this support for 1 year, but here I am 4 years later, and the university never failed to provide me with the financial aid I needed to stay in school. I could have not graduated without student loans if it wasn't for USM. In fact, giving this speech this year would have never been a reality if it wasn't for USM. Throughout my 4-year journey here, I encountered some of the best people. People who are not afraid to shine their lights and speak their minds. These amazing men and women taught me that the key to success is all about how I chose to see and think about myself. A great community truly has the power to bring greatness out from within people. I feel nostalgic as I remember my first 3 years at USM, filled with memories of eating with my friends at the Woodbury cafeteria, cracking jokes as we waited for our next class, and then, of course, the endless walk to the library that had then become a second home. These moments that then felt never-ending became a fond memory once the pandemic hit. 2020 was a year of great lesson, a reminder that we have control over so little, that people matter more than material things, and that being alive is a privilege that should not be wasted. This pandemic shifted my perspective as I was forced to spend countless hours in solitude. Searching for answers about the chaos of our world, I became closer to God by reading His words. As I prayed more and thought about moments pre-pandemic, I realized that I did not make the best of my time at USM. Instead of being my own cheerleader, I would frequently block my own blessing with my limiting belief about myself and what I could accomplish. My faith and all this time reflecting on my own perception made all the differences. I know now that I used to let life-changing opportunities walk past me. I took them for granted, thinking I had time. Now, I am prepared to be that cheerleader. By focusing on what is long-lasting and meaningful instead of what is temporary, I will keep on pushing through until being fearless becomes a lifestyle. The courage to be fearless might sound simple, but it's not easy, especially right now. As I watch the news and scroll through social media, my heart breaks. My heart breaks with every death, every act of violence, every injustice, every tear shed by a mother losing her son, a brother losing his sister, a child losing a parent, and so on and so on. Too many lives taken way too soon. What are we going to do? Just as I've learned to not limit my belief about what I can do, I choose to have hope. Hope for the restoration of human decency. Hope for more kindness, compassion, and unity over individualism. Hope for a generation that is not afraid to demand change and become the change. Hope for world peace. Hope for acceptance despite differences. More importantly, I hope for love. I hope that we can love each other despite everything that we believe makes us so different. To all of you who are listening, love your neighbor. Be kind to your neighbor. Cherish your neighbor. Because we all need one another to get through this journey we call life. As we all know, 2020 was not an easy year. Some will say it felt like years instead of just one. But here we are, pushing through it and making the best of it. I stand extremely proud of the graduating class of 2021. We should take a moment to applaud ourselves for making it to the finish line, especially during this hard time that we're currently in. I could have not chosen a better year to graduate. As I conclude, let us extend our deepest gratitude to the frontline workers and everyone else who continues to put their lives at risk for the sake of others. We see you, we thank you, and we'll never forget you. To the faculty and staff, thank you for making this transition to online classes as smooth and as manageable as possible. Thank you to my family and friends for their constant love and support. Most importantly, all praise to God who made all of this possible. I would like to dedicate this degree to my amazing mom and to my dad, who left us too soon. To my little brothers and sisters, you lose nothing by dreaming big. To my fellow graduates, as Chadwick Boseman once said, may he rest in eternal peace. When deciding on next steps, next jobs, next career, further education, you should rather find purpose than a job or a career. Now, this is your time. Change the world like I know you can. Be the change you want to see. And most importantly, enjoy this one life we're all given. Congratulations again. God bless you all exceedingly and abundantly more than He has ever before. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace, for sharing those beautiful and inspiring sentiments with us. And now it is my honor to introduce USM's newest distinguished professor. Reserved for faculty members who have already achieved the rank of full professor, the distinguished professor title may be held by up to 3 USM faculty members at one time, all of whom must have demonstrated exceptional scholarly or creative work, leadership in their field or discipline, a record of substantial publication or performance recognized nationally and often internationally, noteworthy service to the institution and the profession, excellence in teaching, and a record of mentorship. It is a gift when a university finds a professor who is dedicated to teaching undergraduate students, most of whom are the first in their families to attend college, who also wants to chair his department, lead positive change in the curriculum, who values and enjoys academic advising, who serves the university on faculty senate and in myriad other ways, and who also somehow finds time to publish 7 books, 26 articles, 7 original poems, and 9 book reviews. Dr. Sheldon Waldrop represents the epitome of what USM offers its students: access to the minds of brilliant faculty members doing cutting-edge research in their fields who could spend their careers at any university, and they choose to spend it teaching our students right here in Maine. Dr. Waldrop has a bachelor's degree in English and art history from the University of Alabama. He holds an MFA in creative writing from the University of Alabama and a master's and PhD in English from Duke University. Dr. Waldrop has been an English professor at USM since 1998, and he is now chairperson of the Department of English. Dr. Waldrop teaches everything from ancient and Victorian literature to popular culture, film, and critical theory. His latest book is titled Future Nostalgia: Performing David Bowie. And yes, this does make him popular with students. Before being awarded this honor, Dr. Waldrop earned the College of Arts and Sciences Outstanding Teacher Scholar Award, the Faculty Senate Award for Excellence in Scholarship, and a trustee professorship. On a personal note, as someone who once sat beside and admired Dr. Waldrop as a faculty colleague, I am particularly humbled now, as provost, to present to you USM's newest distinguished professor, Dr. Sheldon Waldrop.
Thank you, Provost Uzi, for your generous introduction. I just wanted to say briefly today that to me what matters about this award is what it says about our academic community at USM. That is, we honor scholarship and creative endeavor as important to what makes USM special. Our research, writing, and teaching make each other possible, but we recognize with this award the special role of scholarship. Scholarship is transferable from institution to institution and is part of a global endeavor that makes universities such rare places, ones in which peer-reviewed research and writing is protected with tenure, a lifelong appointment given only after many years of study and apprenticeship after completing a book-length contribution to human knowledge. This award celebrates that medieval invention, but also to me, it is the product of not just one faculty member, but of the community of the university as a whole. I would not have been able to obtain this award without the work and help of the president, the provost, my dean, my colleagues, my students, and my friends who make it possible for me to accept this honor on behalf of us all. Since I am receiving this award during our commencement ceremonies, I thought it might be appropriate to place the award in the context of graduation, an important moment in the lives of our students and often of their families as well. At USM, faculty value the fact that our students often come into academe as the first in their families to do so, and we as faculty have the enviable opportunity to make a difference to these students. We take that opportunity seriously, and we appreciate the trust you give us to help you navigate the world of university work. I close then with a bit of advice for our students, those of college age and all those who wish to keep learning. When I was an undergraduate, one voice that I instantly agreed with and found helpful was that of the Irish playwright Oscar Wilde, who never hesitated in his writings to offer advice about youthfulness and staying young. In his novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, he wrote, realize your youth while you have it. Don't squander the gold of your days, listening to the tedious, trying to improve the hopeless failure, or giving away your life to the ignorant, the common, and the vulgar. These are the sickly aims, the false ideals of our age. Live the wonderful life that is in you. Let nothing be lost upon you. Be always searching for new sensations. Be afraid of nothing. These words ring true today as much as they did in the late 19th century when he wrote them. In another age of ugliness and ignorance, brought about not by the Industrial Revolution and imperialism, but by similar effects created by neoliberalism and technology, it is, as then, up to the young to guide us to something better. If you are truly young, you will be young forever. And to be young forever is both the tragedy of life and the eternal font from which creativity, critical acumen, and progress can come. It is where kindness takes us and the future yields. It is the youthfulness of the university, the place where the past lives forever in the self-invention of a new generation that discovers itself anew and the power to transform the world that comes with it. Congratulations to our graduates as you become the avatars of the future, and thank you to my colleagues for this high honor.
Thank you, Dr. Waldrop, for your commitment to excellence in your scholarship and in your teaching, and for making USM shine with your many accomplishments. And it is now my honor to introduce USM's 2021 commencement speaker, Professor Ibram X. Kendi. Professor Kendi is the Andrew W. Mellon Professor in the Humanities at Boston University and the founding director of the Boston University Center for Anti-Racist Research. He is a contributing writer at The Atlantic and a CBS News racial justice contributor. Professor Kendi is the 2020-2021 Francis B. Cashin Fellow at the Radcliffe Institute for Advanced Study at Harvard University. He is the author of many books, including Stamped from the Beginning, The Definitive History of Racist Ideas in America, which won the National Book Award for Nonfiction, making him the youngest ever winner of that award. He also authored 3 #1 New York Times bestsellers, How to Be an Anti-Racist, Stamped, Racism, Anti-Racism, and You, co-authored with Jason Reynolds, and Anti-Racist Baby, illustrated by Ashley Lukashevsky. His newest books are Be Anti-Racist, A Journal for Awareness, Reflection, and Action, and 400 Souls, A Community History of African America, co-edited with Keisha Blaine, which will be out in February. In 2020, Time magazine named Professor Kendi one of the 100 most influential people in the world. And I want to share briefly the letter I wrote to Professor Kendi inviting him to speak at USM's commencement exercises after we chose his book, How to Be an Anti-Racist, as our university common read. I wrote, USM has a mission of access, and we serve a student body that is diverse in many ways. We are a community of adult learners, English language learners, more than 50% first generation, 42% Pell eligible. We bring together in our classrooms students from around Maine with refugees and asylum seekers from all over the world, as well as with students from Maine's Native and Indigenous communities. Our USM community is enviable in its potential, and we are in the early stages of embracing anti-racism as the best way to realize that potential. He replied, I am overjoyed to hear that your university community decided to choose How to Be an Anti-Racist to be your common read. I'm inspired that you and your colleagues had the courage to tackle the pain head on, and especially as your university is increasingly diversifying. In many ways, he said, my book is about overcoming and surviving. I am grateful he said yes.
Greetings to the administrators, to the faculty, to the staff, greetings to all the parents and caretakers out there, and friends and family members, but most of all, greetings, of course, to each and every graduate of the University of Southern Maine. I am just pleasantly excited to be a part of this incredibly special day for each of you. A day that begins the rest of your life, a day where, of course, you turn this page into adulthood, into a profession, into a career, into wherever sort of this journey will take you, wherever you're going to direct, the course of life. I'm just excited to be a part of this day with you as we're all celebrating you for this incredible accomplishment of graduating. I can still remember fondly that day when I graduated college 3 years ago. No, I'm just playing. Wow, it's been some time. I won't date myself. And for me, it was one of the most surreal moments of my life, a day that I cherished. And certainly this day, since this commencement is virtual, is going to be different. And I wish I was there with each of you, seeing each of you, expressing to each of you how much I am proud of you, as your parents are, and caretakers, as your friends and family members and professors, and really the University of Southern Maine community. And I can't obviously be there in the flesh, but I'm with you in spirit. I just wanted to sort of take a few moments to really sort of talk to you about this moment, about this time, and about really the distinction between courage and cowardice. And I want to talk to you about how to distinguish courage from cowardice, because I want you, and I'm sure the people who love you want you to live a courageous life. And so in the most general sense, courage is not the absence of fear, but the strength to do what's right in the face of it. And by contrast, cowardice is the inability to do to amass really the strength to do what's right in the face of fear. And so in many ways, when you're thinking about your life, when you're thinking about where you want to go, when you're thinking about what you want to do, when you're thinking about who you want to be, I want you to be driven by strength. I want you to be driven by courage. I don't want you to be led by or stopped by or constrained in any way by fear. And I'm saying that right now on this day, in this moment, when so many people all over the world, and certainly in New England, and certainly in the United States, have been led to fear, are driven by fear, are manipulated by fear, refuse to be the type of person they could be, refuse to go down that dark road where on the other side is a beautiful life for them because of fear. And if anything, courage gives you the ability to constantly and regularly think about what is the best, what is the right thing to do in this moment. Not what's the most comfortable, not what's the easiest, but what is the right thing? What is what's best for me? What is what's best for my world? What's best for my family? What's best for based on who I am and what I want to be? What is the right side of history? And I want you to be constantly thinking about how do I amass the strength, the courage to be who I want to be, to create the type of world that I want to live in. And I'm saying this as someone who knows that it is hard, it is difficult, it is painful to live in this world. It's painful. You're going to face so many adversities in the course of your life. And I just want to ensure that when you face adversity, that you recognize the distinction between courage, and cowardice, especially a topic as politically charged, as difficult, a topic and an issue as soaked in fear as race, as racism. And really, one of the things that I've been trying to urge the American people to do, one of the things I've been urging people all over the world to do and to be is anti-racist. And in order to be anti-racist, we of course must have courage. And let me just sort of express to the University of Southern Maine's community for just how honored I am that you decided last year to read my book, How to Be an Anti-Racist, together, as a common read, as a community. I feel like you knew about this book long before the world, in many ways, discovered it last summer, as many Americans were discovering many books on race and racism, many anti-racist books. And so I'm just honored and thankful that we were in this conversation long before the horrific murder of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, because that means that we'll be in this conversation long after the mood of the nation shifts, which hopefully it won't. But of course, anything is possible. But we have to make sure that the mood of our institution, of ourselves, do not shift. And that book, How to Be an Anti-Racist, was really a book about my growth, how I was able to change, how I was able to look in the mirror and see a problem. And see a problem with what I was thinking, let's say, about Black people or about Black poor people or about Black women or about Black queer people, and to recognize that what I was thinking, the ways in which I was devaluing and degrading certain groups of people, certain racial groups, was problematic, and that I needed to change, that indeed those groups weren't the problem, that I was the problem. And it was extremely difficult for me over the course of my life to face up to that fact, because it was deeply uncomfortable. But what I knew was that it was the right thing to do. So I knew I had to amass that strength. So I knew I had to be courageous. And to be sort of anti-racist is to be willing to consistently self-reflect, to be consistently willing to self-critique, to recognize that to be born and raised in the United States in many ways is to have racist ideas constantly raining on our head, racist ideas that are soaking us in this idea that all these racial inequities and injustices around us, Black people being disproportionately impoverished, Native folks being disproportionately, and Latinx folks and Black folks being disproportionately killed from COVID-19, Asian Americans being subjected to all sorts of terror and violence right now, that these injustices, these racial disparities, having to see what happened to George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and so many other George Floyds, that this is that we're taught that this is normal, that there's something wrong with those other racial groups, and we're soaked in those ideas. And then we're also taught by these ideas raining on our heads that we're actually dry, that there's nothing wrong with how we're thinking, and that there's everything wrong with those people. And so can you imagine if you're soaked in racist ideas and you're also soaked in the idea that you're, quote, not racist. You're also soaked in the idea that there's nothing wrong with the way you're thinking and acting in the world, and everything wrong with those people of color or those people who don't look like you. And then somebody comes along with an umbrella and sees that you're soaked. It's easy for you to be like, what are you talking about? I'm dry. There's nothing wrong with me. How dare you tell me that I'm soaked? But to be anti-racist is actually to reflect, is actually to see the way we are soaked, is to see the ways in which those racist ideas have prevented us from seeing that the problem is structural and systemic racism, as opposed to certain groups of people, that what's dividing us is that racism, as opposed to the people who are resisting that racism. But in order to come to that place, in order to reach that place, we first have to overcome our denial. We first have to do something that involves courage. In many ways, we're addicted to racist ideas. And like with any addiction, whether it's a substance abuse or any addiction, it takes a tremendous amount of courage for the person to see themselves for themselves so that they can change. And I'm saying this because in many aspects of your life, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you and we're going to have to constantly be seeing ourselves for ourselves, because that's the only way in which we're going to be able to reflect on ourselves, which will then allow us to consistently grow. This is sort of this constructive self-critique that allows us to see where we are making mistakes so we can stop making those mistakes. And to be human is to make mistakes, is to be perfect. So it's a continuous process, this journey of trying to be a better form of ourselves. And it's the same thing with being anti-racist. It's a journey. It's a journey that I want each and every one of you to take, but it's a hard journey. Individually and at a societal level, it involves pain. It involves discomfort. And so that's why many people flee it. And sometimes when we are described as racist, sometimes it hurts. And it hurts deeply. But I think another way to think about when our nation, when our institutions, when we as individuals are described as racist, is to actually compare it and understand it almost as a diagnosis. You know, it was 3 years ago, about this time, you know, as I write about in How to Be an Anti-Racist, that I was battling for my life privately. I had been diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And in January of 2018, and it was a disease that kills 86% or so of people in 5 years. And I knew that in order to survive this diagnosis, which sort of came out of nowhere, because in many ways Americans are like, how could I be racist? You know, I live in New England. How can I be racist? I am a Democrat, or I'm a Republican, and those other people are the real racist. You know, how can I be racist? And we oftentimes look at our identity in the way I looked at myself, and I was like, how could I have stage 4 cancer? I'm young. I don't smoke, really. Well, really at all. Students are like, no, you smoke. No, I actually don't. I don't drink. I didn't have any risk factors for colon cancer, except being an African American. And still I was diagnosed. So it was hard, really, for me to believe it. And that disbelief combined with the pain of being told that I had such an illness, I was devastated. But in that moment, I did not feel as if the doctor who diagnosed me was trying to hurt me. If anything, I felt that she was trying to help me. If anything, the people who were telling me everything's okay, even though all of these symptoms are coming out of me, just like those who were trying to say to America or to Americans, you're, quote, not racist, when all of the signs of and symptoms of our racism collectively, and certainly the ways in which individuals are being racist, those symptoms are all around us. The people who are like, no, everything's okay with you, those are the people who are simply being cowards. But not only is there cowardice there, there's also, those are the people who are going to allow us as a nation to pass away. Those are the people who are going to prevent us as individuals, because of our racist ideas, because of the ways in which we're being racist, we're formulating friendships, even entering onto different roads in our life. And so we're having to pass on those things, not even realizing it. And so I'm saying this to say that to even self-diagnose the ways in which we're being racist is a form of loving ourselves, is a form of loving our society, is a form of setting us down the road where we can get treatment. And certainly that treatment, you know, in my book, I chronicle some difficult moments that I had with myself, in which I had to come to grips with what I was doing. I had to come to grips with the ways in which I was being racist and trafficking in anti-Blackness, and certainly was not challenging structural racism. I had to come to grips with that. And it was extremely painful to do so. It was extremely painful to unlearn and to start learning anti-racist ideas that there's nothing wrong with any racial group of people and everything wrong with racism. It was extremely difficult to do, but at the same time, it was so liberating to do. And it was so liberating to start this process in which I could become a better form of myself. And I'm saying this because when we think about it in a medical sense, it makes sense that there is no healing without pain. It's the same thing as it relates to us personally and socially. But there's no pain without courage. And so that's why I'm imploring every single one of you to just never forget that distinction between courage and cowardice. And again, courage is amassing the strength to do what's right, to do what's just, to do what's best in the face of fear. Versus cowardice is the inability to do what's right, to do what's just, to do what's best for us or our community in the face of fear. Do not let fear control you. Do not be enslaved by fear as you're thinking about who you want to do, who you want to become, what type of person you want to be. When you're trying to decide what type of job or career you're going to pursue, do not let fear stop you. Do not let fear slow you down. Really step into your courage. Step into your courage, not only striving to be anti-racist, but even striving to be human, fully human, and to be the best person that you can be and strive to build the best type of humanity for us all. And I trust and I have faith that every single one of you can live a life of courage. And you know why I believe that? Because your senior year was the senior year during one of the worst pandemics in human history. But still, throughout all of this adversity, throughout all of this discomfort, throughout all of this pain, you were able to overcome and you were able to graduate. And so I have faith that you can continue on with this courage. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kendi. From me, from everyone else at USM, we are so grateful to have you with us. Each year, USM has the opportunity to confer one or more honorary degrees upon individuals of regional or national reputation for their intellectual, scholarly, or creative achievements. This year, it is my privilege to present the Honorary Doctor of Humane Letters from the University of Southern Maine to 4 individuals whose expertise and leadership in their fields are especially noteworthy of recognition at this particular time. I now have the honor of introducing our first honorary degree recipient, Mr. Yvon Chouinard. Mr. Chouinard is an itinerant adventurer, a passionate activist, and an iconoclastic business person. In 1973, he founded Patagonia Inc., a mission-driven clothing and outdoor gear company known for its environmental and social initiatives. He later co-founded the Fair Labor Association, 1% for the Planet, the Textile Exchange, the Conservation Alliance, and the Sustainable Apparel Coalition. Mr. Chouinard is a surfer, mountain climber, gardener, and falconer, and he is particularly fond of tenkara fly fishing. His business memoir, Let My People Go Surfing, has been published in 16 languages and has sold more than 500,000 copies. His latest book, Some Stories, Lessons from the Edge of Business and Sport, is a selection of his favorite accounts and memories that reveals the evolution of his thoughts and his philosophies. His other books include The Responsible Company, Simple Fly Fishing, and Climbing Ice. He was the executive producer of the 2019 investigative documentary Artificial and the award-winning documentaries Damnation and Public Trust. A native of Lewiston, Maine, he now resides in Ventura, California. With the approval of the University of Maine System Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to present Mr. Yvon Chouinard with an honorary Doctor of Humane Letters from the University of Southern Maine.
Yeah, I'm very proud and honored to be given this honorary degree from the University of Southern Maine. Even though I left Maine when I was only 7 years old, I feel like I have really deep roots in the Maine culture. My father left Quebec when he was only 10 years old and came to work in the woolen mill in Lisbon. And he went on to become a journeyman plumber, carpenter, mason, electrician. He could build a whole house on his own and only had a third grade education. We migrated to California in 1946, I believe. 5 of us in one car. And when we got to California, I was put in public school, which I couldn't speak English. And I was the shortest kid in school, so I just ran away from school, of course. My early life was in the outdoors, and I became a falconer. I would spend my grammar school days in the Los Angeles riverbed, gigging frogs and hunting rabbits. And so I've always had a life in nature, and I've been very concerned, like all of you, about the fate of our home planet. We're facing the greatest existential threat that mankind has ever had. And I think the solution is going to be, we have to start accepting the idea that we're part of nature. And if we protect nature, we protect ourselves. I think Mainers really appreciate nature as well as I do. So I've been involved in Maine, in environmental causes in Maine. The Androscoggin River, where I used to live close by, is still polluted, although it's not as polluted as it was when I was there. We had a chance to help take down the Edwards Dam on the Kennebec River. We did that by taking out 3 ads in the national edition of the New York Times saying that the Edwards Dam should come out, and we made it a national issue rather than a little Maine issue. And within 2-3 years, the dam came out. I feel pretty good about that. I've also been involved with the Atlantic Salmon Federation and taken out a bunch of dams on the Penobscot River. As you can tell, I don't like dams very much. And now I'm hoping that the Maine woods will become a national park someday. It certainly deserves to be. I think Maine is a very different place than when I lived there. I'm really proud to know that there are now 10 B Corporation companies in Maine, including the Androscoggin Bank in Lewiston. I've always found that in business it's easier to break the rules than try to conform to the existing paradigm. And in fact, it's been the secret of my business in that we take a different path. My best piece of advice is to also break the rules, because the existing society that we have now isn't working very well. And only by taking a different path will we solve our problems. So all of you that are graduating today, the future is in your hands. Fate of the planet is in your hands.
Thank you, Mr. Chouinard. Our second honorary degree recipient this morning is Mr. Timothy P. Wilson, Senior Advisor and Director of the Maine Seeds Programs. Mr. Wilson has held several roles at Seeds of Peace since its founding in 1993. Prior to serving as Senior Advisor and Director of the Maine Seeds Programs, he was the Director of the Seeds of Peace Camp in Maine and the Seeds of Peace Center for Coexistence in Jerusalem. Before and during the early years of this work with Seeds of Peace, he served as the Director of Multicultural Programs for Pierce Atwood Consulting in Portland. He has been appointed by 3 Maine governors to several posts, including chair of the Maine Human Rights Commission. He also has been the associate headmaster of the Hyde School, director of admissions at Maine Central Institute, and a highly successful football coach at the University of Maine. His many awards include the Medal of Honor from the late King Hussein of Jordan, the Gerda Haas Award for Excellence in Human Rights Education and Leadership from the Holocaust and Human Rights Center of Maine, and the Peace Corps' Franklin H. Williams Award. A Maine Sports Hall of Fame inductee, he received the Distinguished American Award from the Howard Vandersea Maine chapter of the National Football Foundation Award. He earned a Bachelor of Science in Education from Slippery Rock University and English as a Second Language certification from the University of Washington. With the approval of the University of Maine System Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to present Mr. Timothy P. Wilson with an Honorary Doctor of Humane Letters from the University of Southern Maine.
Good morning. First of all, I want to thank the Board of Trustees and the University of Southern Maine's entire faculty and students and everyone who had something to say about this award and me receiving it. I do want to also say to the graduates of 2021, you've come through a lot. And you'll have every opportunity, I hope, to do some special things because you paid the price. You've done some things that other people have never had to do. And what you now do will be so very important to your family, to your community, and most of all, probably the things you can contribute back to the university because they've stood behind you in these 4 years. I really want to thank my family. I'm the second to the last living of my immediate family. I have a brother who just turned 94. He's made all kinds of jokes about me receiving a doctorate. We won't go into those. But more importantly, I want to thank Harold L. Font, Peter Lunder, and the whole Dexter community for supporting me from 1966 to 1972 and beyond, and the things that I've been able to be involved with in Maine. I've been here off and on for 61 years, most of my adult life. There's so many things that have occurred in my time to be involved with Ken Curtis as governor and James B. Longley and Joe Brennan as governors, to be in their cabinets and be a part of some of the decisions they had to make during the period that I was in government, 73 to 83. But also to have the opportunity to be around some of the most, the best people you could have to represent this state. Have the opportunity, once meeting Margaret Chase Smith, to going through the whole complete list. I've had that opportunity to be around Senator Muskie, Bill Cohen, Olympia Snow. These people are truly the best of the best. George Mitchell, there's no way. All of these people have contributed to helping me to be able to stand here. You know, the joke is when people say a village has a lot to do with a young child growing. Well, in this state, it's the whole state that have helped a young black man who arrived here in 1960 to do so many things and be able to be a part of so much that is Maine. It does lead when it's allowed to lead. And I've had the opportunity to be a part of so much of that. And finally, in 2000, a man named John Wallach received a doctorate from the university. And to be standing here again, receiving or being someone who received this because of something that he started called Seeds of Peace, to have that as a part of my resume. I could never thank he and his family enough. John passed away in 2002, far too young. But Seeds of Peace is still continuing. It is still doing some amazing things. People will criticize, but you know, the old story is, if you aren't doing anything, people won't criticize. Again, I truly thank all of you. I appreciate so much what your president has done for me over the years in our own relationship away from the university. This university has so much to give and so much to offer, and I'm proud that you have acknowledged me in the way you've done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our final honorary degree recipients, Ms. Beverly Worthington, co-founder and board secretary of the Worthington Scholarship Foundation, and Mr. David Worthington, co-founder and board chair of the Worthington Scholarship Foundation. As a first-generation college graduate and co-founder of the Worthing Scholarship Foundation, Ms. Worthington has focused on implementing impactful scholarship and student success services for college students in Maine for more than a decade. Today, the Worthington Scholarship Foundation provides eligible graduates of high schools in Hancock, Knox, Lincoln, Waldo, and Washington counties with grants of up to $16,000 to support their education at select 2- and 4-year colleges in Maine, including the University of Southern Maine. Prior to launching the Worthington Scholarship Foundation with her husband, Mr. David Worthington, she was a corporate commercial pilot and owned and operated an aerial application service in Texas for many years. Her roles in agriculture and international trade included serving as a liaison between the Texas Department of Agriculture and the Texas State Legislature on agricultural issues, serving as a board member of the Gulf Coast Agribusiness Council, and participating in the Uruguay Round, the 8th round of multilateral international trade negotiations conducted within the framework of the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. A graduate of Lee College in Bayton, Texas, Ms. Worthington has served on many advisory committees at her alma mater that oversee the college's business career pilot, legal assistant, and technology programs. Mr. Worthington enjoyed a long and successful career in the oil industry. After serving Shell Oil Company as exploration manager for the Gulf of Mexico and Atlantic, he assumed a majority ownership position and leadership of TGS Geophysical, which became the largest provider of modern, non-exclusive seismic data in the Gulf of Mexico to the energy industry. TGS Geophysical later merged with the Norwegian company Nopec to become TGS Nopec Geophysical Company, one of the world's largest geophysical consulting, contracting services, and marine seismic data companies. He retired from active management in 1996 and relinquished his board responsibilities in 2007. A Worcester, Mass. native, Mr. Worthington served 3 years with the U.S. Army's 18th Airborne Corps before earning a BA in geology at Marietta College in Marietta, Ohio. He continued his education under a Texaco Fellowship at the University of Utah and Virginia Tech University, receiving a master's degree in geophysics in 1969. He served as a trustee of Marietta College, a trustee of the American Association of Petroleum Geologists Foundation, and a patient pal at Texas Children's Hospital. With the approval of the University of Maine System Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to present Ms. Beverly Worthington and Mr. David Worthington, each with an honorary Doctor of Humane Letters from the University of Southern Maine.
Hello, graduates and guests. Congratulations to you on this commemorative day. Through hard work and sacrifice, you have taken control of your future and are taking the next steps to changing the world. On behalf of my husband David and our foundation, I would like to thank the University of Southern Maine for recognizing our hard work by accepting this honorary degree. At the Worthington Scholarship Foundation, we are dedicated to Maine, its students, and its future by making the dream of a college education a reality. Now you are all fulfilling that dream. Now I would like to introduce my husband, David Worthington.
My congratulations to the class of 2021, and thank you for the opportunity to join with you virtually in receipt of my honorary degree. You have sacrificed time and energy for study, which will now magnify your power to serve the truth and assist you in reaching your goals. My wife Bev and I offer a message of hope for young people growing up in Maine through a foundation awarding 4-year scholarships to a broad cross-section of students from circumstances similar to our own. Within the next 2 years, we anticipate covering 12 of Maine's 16 counties and providing 600 to 700 scholarships each year, of which there are currently 27 such scholars attending the University of Southern Maine and 9 who have graduated. We intend to expand our support in the future with the goal of covering all of Maine. With the Worthington Scholarship Foundation's support for students from lower and middle-income families, we have been made witness to the struggles many have had to face. We believe restricting our scholarships to Maine colleges will help by acting as a buffer against student debt, making Maine a desirable educational location, and contributing to the development of an educated workforce for the state. Observe that which you have experienced in life, and you will find a strong bond with the land. Your thoughts and dreams may now encompass the world, but we can also envision a new day of connectivity, allowing enjoyment of this land in combination with additional opportunities for gainful employment. Once again, I offer my congratulations on a job well done and a brave new future for all of you.
Thank you to all 4 of our outstanding honorary degree recipients for your message of congratulations to our graduates today and for working with the university to be part of our online commencement celebration. We are deeply honored to have you both be part of our ceremony in this way and to confer upon you the Honorary Doctor of Humane Letters from the University of Southern Maine. Congratulations. Now it is my pleasure to have Chancellor Daniel Malloy share congratulations with the class of 2021 as our new graduates on behalf of the University of Maine system.
Congratulations to all of you, graduates of the University of Southern Maine. Congratulations also to the faculty for the outstanding job that they have done in preparing you for this moment. Thanks to your family and friends who have supported you throughout this endeavor. And thank you to President Cummings for the outstanding leadership he has lent to this effort. Don't forget the University of Southern Maine as you go back to your home community. Remember what you've learned and apply it to your future life. And be active members of the communities that you're returning to or moving to. We've done great work together, and you will do great things in the future.
Thank you, Chancellor Malloy. And now we will recognize and honor each individual graduate of the University of Southern Maine. Our graduates will be listed in order by each of our 4 colleges, and the deans of each college will share with you a message of congratulations. As you will soon see, some of the names are followed by asterisks, which denote graduation from USM with Latin honors. Those whose names appear with a single asterisk are graduating cum laude. Those with 2 asterisks are graduating magna cum laude. And those with 3 asterisks, our academic superstars, are graduating with the highest Latin honors, summa cum laude. And now it is my pleasure and honor to present to you the 2021 graduates of the University of Southern Maine. behalf of the Board of Trustees, and in accordance with the authority vested in me, I hereby proudly confer upon each of you respectively, according to your individual courses of study, your degrees, with all of the associated honors, distinctions, and privileges. Please join me now in congratulating the official class of 2021 and our newest alumni. And now, for the new members of the USM alumni family, we have a special welcome. It's a message from the University of Southern Maine's Alumni Association.
I'm Kate Beaver, the president of the USM Alumni Engagement Council, and on behalf of everyone on the council, I want to congratulate you all. Commencement is virtual this year, but we hope that you can hear us all cheering you on as you step into this next stage of life. It takes grit to get through a college career on any year, and this time you've done it through a pandemic.
Unmask your potential.
Congratulations from advising.
Hello, class of 2021. It's Professor Richard Bilodeau from the School of Business. And I just want to say how happy I am that you're part of the USM family and how proud I am of your achievement.
Congratulations on earning your degree from the University of Southern Maine. As you move forward, there'll be many challenges ahead. Don't be afraid to fail. Take the risk, climb the mountain, and make your dreams come true.
Congratulations! And don't forget, the Career Hub is with you for life. Just
Congratulations, class of 2021. If there's one thing I could say to all of you as you head out into the world, it's give back to the institution. It is the one place where your continued investment in the strength of USM will improve the value of your degree as you go through life.
Go Huskies.
We look forward to staying connected with you and supporting your goals, and we hope that you'll stay in touch with the university. From all of us on the Alumni Engagement Council, congratulations.
Thank you to the USM Alumni Association for that warm welcome to our 2021 graduates. Again, my congratulations to all our graduates today and to all of you watching who helped them reach this important milestone in their lives. To our graduates, you fill our hearts with Husky pride. I am confident that you will go forward and make us even prouder with all the accomplishments you will take on in the future. Thank you for being part of today's historic online celebration of the 2021 graduates of the University of Southern Maine. I hereby declare this 2021 online commencement, its celebration, to be fully adjourned.